My name is Pramod Bangalore. I'm born and brought up in Bangalore. I come from a traditional middle class family. I am married to Arati. I have two kids, Nidhi and Nitish. One studying in engineering, the second one is starting 10th Grade. From the background perspective, I am an engineer by profession. And I've started my career in manufacturing somewhere back in 1990. Then moved on to IT and was there in US for around 5 years. Somewhere in 2007 is when I started my own journey in entrepreneurship, more in the IT sector. And 2020 during the COVID times is when I started this whole, got into this food business and started this whole brand APN Masalas to deliver the traditional Mysore style sambar powders and rasam powders and ready to eat and blended masala powders. So this journey of APN has started in 2020. My entrepreneurship journey started somewhere in 2007. It was more on the IT and giving solutions to the corporates and supply chain solutions. Over a period of time, I got to know what does it take to become an entrepreneur, and at the same time, I always had this inclination to do something on the consumer goods. Opportunity presented itself somewhere in 2020 during the COVID times. One of the known cooks whom we have been associated for almost 20 years due to the COVID situation got into some trouble and was finding it difficult to get the things going. That's when the person approached me, and that's when I thought that let me try and do something on the consumer goods. And when we spoke to him and tried to get his expertise and all those things, given that my wife is very passionate about cooking, there was always this whole thing of getting into this good. So what we decided was we had these traditional recipes which was passed over to us in terms of sambar preparation of typical South Indian sambar powders, rasam powders, then ready to eat chutney powder. So when we spoke to our person and gave him the recipe, we asked him whether he could deliver it in mass. So given that we control the recipes, so he did agree, and we started off in a very, very small fashion on a test somewhere in 2020 November is when we started, and we just started giving it to friends and relatives to get the feedback and all those things. And to our surprise, there was a very, very good response, and we were simply giving it in a pouch without any name and all those things. So 2021 January or February is when we decided that this has a potential, and we got into proper branding and where the APN Masala brand was born. So APN is simply Arati, Pramod, Nidhi, Nitish, which is within my family. A simple 3-letter this thing where the APN was born somewhere in January. Then we went ahead with the FSSAI registration. We got into GST so that we are all in line with the legal formalities. We don't get into any trouble there. So that is when we started journey, and still the whole model still is D2C, direct to customers. So we got very good response. We got all the kinds of responses, and we are open for changes. We got a lot of feedback. We did changes. And over a period of time from past 1.5 years, it's like January 22nd, January, February, if we take it a year now, we have sold close to around 600 kgs so far. Again, we didn't go to retail, and we are still going around in the friends, word of mouth, which we are looking at. Off late from 3 months, our social media presence has increased. We are now sending it all over the world. We deliver all over India also. So this has been the journey of APN so far. What started off as a small thing to more of a social cause is what we thought to help our person became a full-fledged product, and we have around 8 products right now, and we were stabilizing those 8 products. Once we do that, we would like to get into snacks and other products. So before getting into it, we thought we'll stabilize these product lines. Being a small homemade kind of a setup, it becomes challenging to have too many products. We thought let us limit our products, go deep into the market, and make a brand for ourselves. So this has been the journey so far with you. For me, the biggest challenge once I started APN was to understand the consumer market, which I didn't have much experience as I was always dealing with corporates. So once I got into this whole product, consumer product, there was a huge learning experience. The first thing I had to do was identify the market, the target market. Obviously, I cannot cater to everybody, so I had to identify the market. So as I started interacting with people, I identified two sets of people whom I thought would would be benefited by product. One is the set of senior people who can't cook but still wouldn't like the fast food and the Swiggy food, would like to have the traditional taste at home. At the same time, they are not in a position to prepare. And the second set of people, when I looked at the statistics, they said that 49% of Indian population is right now where husband and wife are working, and where they don't have time to prepare all this traditional food. So those are the two target market which I identified and started going behind that. So what APN did was that people were able to get back to their old traditional food preparation of sambar or rasam from the South India perspective. Now, and at the same time, there's a lot of people out there in North and West who are really who really would like to have this whole rasam and sambar. So those are one more market which I identified at a later point of time. But two markets is where what we are able to successfully do, if I look at all the feedbacks I have got, is that something people have really thanked us for giving them the taste what they had during their, like a senior set of people, where then they were preparing the taste what they used to have, they were able to get the same taste back, which almost got us around 30 to 40% of return orders for a homemade setup. I believe is a good return customer rate. So overall, people have been very happy, and we have also been the key. I think for me is that we have always been open to suggestions, and when there has been a suggestion given by many people on a certain thing, a certain taste or certain flavor, we have always incorporated it and given it back to them. So that has been our strength, APN Masala strength, and people are now regular consumers of our products. As I said, there are 8 products. The most fast moving are the sambar and the rasam powders, in the blended masala powders, and in the ready to eat is our chutney powders, where our dal based chutney powders and the groundnut based chutney powders are also really popular. For both breakfast and all the 3 meals is what people are using all our powders so far. So it has been an amazing journey so far. It has been a learning experience for us also, especially for me moving from corporate to consumer business. Now challenges, as I say, entrepreneurship always comes with challenges. So when I started off, because if we know, since this is food, even in a house of 4, we can't please all the 4, because 2 would like it, 2 would not like it. So taking back that feedback and incorporating it into the product and not going down by a couple of bad feedbacks and trying to be positive and incorporate the thing has been key to the success. Now, the key challenge what I had is when I started off, I didn't put the style of powders. So if we know, even if we come to Karnataka, we have different styles, like a North Karnataka style or a Mangalore Udupi style or a Mysore style. So initially I didn't identify that. What happened was that everybody were expecting it to their taste and their style. So initially there was a disappointment, a lot of negative feedback which we got. Then over a period of time I realized that I had to basically say that this is of a particular style. So that is when we said, because our recipes are all traditional Mysore, so I started putting it as a traditional Mysore style. That is when people started recognizing that this is a different style. So they wouldn't be expecting the same style. So people were open for tasting it. Some people liked, some people didn't like. And then what happened was, especially for people from Tamil Nadu, they use more of pepper in their powders. We use more of chilies. So when we were able to say that this is of Mysore style, there was a lot of of adaptability there also in terms of right now our products go to Chennai a lot, Andhra. People like it right now, and it's not only the people who have moved from Karnataka to there, the local people also started liking it. We are getting good feedback from them, especially what we do is the latest introduction has been the Wangibath powder and the Bisipelebath powder, which has been very popular nowadays, both in Chennai and Andhra. And of course, Karnataka, we are the biggest consumers of Bisipelebath. So that is how we overcome that. Now that people expect it is Mysore style, so they know it is different if they belong to a different style. Now, we have also been successfully sending it to Delhi and Gujarat and Mumbai to a small extent we have started. So now what we are looking at is to directly getting in touch with the rest, because I have relatives around Delhi, Mumbai and Gujarat. So whenever I speak to them, they say whenever they go to the restaurant, they don't get that whole feel of the traditional. And so I'm trying to see if I can get in touch directly with those restaurants and clubs or whatever, and see if we can directly supply it to them so that we can get the same taste, so they don't miss the home. So finally, we don't want people to be missing that traditional taste which they have been used to. That is our whole motto. We want to ensure that we don't use any preservatives, we don't use any artificial colors. In fact, the key ingredient has been the chilies. So chilies, now we are almost verge of finalizing. There are two kinds of chilies we use. One is called Badgi, another is called Guntur. So both are different places. Now we are trying to go to that source and try to get, because chili is the most important component in our powders. So that imparts all the taste. Now we are trying to get it from the growers directly. So those are the things which we have plans in the future, and get into more of a mass production and cater to a bigger market. So it has been an amazing journey, good feedback, bad feedback, and people liking it, not liking it. So we have taken all in our stride, and over a period of a year, I think we have come up with a product which at least most of the people would like and reorder from us. So this has been our journey so far. And lastly, from the packaging perspective, we have taken utmost care in packaging. We use 100 micron food grade packaging, so that it's, even if somebody stores it there for 6 months, there's no impact on the powders per se. And also we are, as I said, we are FSSAI registered also. So all those precautions and legal aspects also have been taken care of. The key ingredients for all our products in general can be three major ingredients are going to be the chilies, different kinds of chilies, then the two different types of dals, and in some cases dhania. These are the rather four key ingredients which goes into most of our powders. The process wise, the most important thing is to ensure that one, chili is of good quality, because that is the key. And second thing is ensure that it is dried properly. So once we get it from we identified certain sources where they directly get from the farmers and sell it in wholesale. So we have identified a couple of sources, and as I said, we are planning to directly go to the source and start getting it as the volume increases, so that we get to pick and choose the quality what we need. So what we do is first we dry it for 2-3 days. Once we get the required quantity, we dry it, and after drying, then based on our mixes of spices, based on our recipe, we fry it for with a combination of dal, sometimes with dal, then dhania or chilies. We use that and fry it properly, and once that is done, then we grind it. So once to the powder, to the coarse, some of the powders will be coarse, some of the powders will be fine. So depending on the type of powders, we grind it accordingly, and we leave it open for 1 or 2 hours so that it cools off. Because once if we cannot pack it when it is really hot, so we keep it for a couple of hours, and then we actually pack it. This whole process is done by us within our house right now. We have a small setup. At any point of time, we hold only 2 weeks of stock, and our Shelf life for this particular products are 6 months. As I said, we don't use any preservatives or colors, but if we deep freeze it, it can go up to a year. So we take utmost care in terms of hygiene and all other aspects, so that the product, the items as such, last the time what we promise, as 6 months to a year. So this is the process. So not a very complicated process, but the key is putting the combination right for each one of the 8 products. That is our USP, where we have the recipes for each one of those with a different, even though the ingredients are same in couple of products, having the right combination, frying it into the right temperature, and ensuring that all the mixes are in the right place, and because some of the powders has to be coarse, some of them has to be fine. So getting that particular combination is going to be the key, which I think we have mastered it over a year or so. I came across Kreate in one of the social media platforms and decided to enroll in the platform. The onboarding process was very pleasant and very easy. In a matter of hour, I was up and running. I was able to list the products on my own with minimal help, and they went through the approval process, and we were pretty much live in a day or two, so where all the users on the Kreate platform can see my products. My whole idea of getting on to Kreate was to get exposure to Pan India, wherein my product can be showcased or procured across India, since it's a platform anybody could log into. So I am hoping that Kreate is going to give that platform or provide that platform to me, where I can sell my products across the length and breadth of India. So far it has been a very good experience with Kreate in terms of onboarding, in terms of experience, in terms of the team being so proactive for any kinds of issues or queries. So it has been an amazing experience so far with Kreate. I am looking forward for a long-term partnership with Kreate, which is going to help me to expand my business across India. One of the most frequently asked questions to me is, what does it take to become an entrepreneur? Now, general feeling is that once you become an entrepreneur, the life is easy, money is going to come. Guess what? That's not the case. Now, from my experience, what I would say is, I would categorize the entrepreneurship into 2 types. Somebody like me, who comes from a middle class family, who doesn't have any background of entrepreneurship nor have access to any kind of resources. We do entrepreneurship for a living. And the second set of entrepreneurs who have all the resources, money, and also with passion. So they don't do it for a living, it's more of a passion. So at a high level, I would like to classify it into 2. Now, the first and the foremost thing for me is the family. Family has to be with you when you start the entrepreneurship, especially when you are doing entrepreneurship for a living, because more often or not, they are going to bear the grunt when things go south. So the first step, whether irrespective of the type, family has to walk with you. So you need to be in a position that the family supports you in all steps. Now, somebody like me, or somebody who doesn't have too much of a backup in terms of resources and all those things, it's a good idea to have an alternate income when you get on to entrepreneurship, because that will keep your basic lifestyle going. Now, today's world, we talk all about valuation, and you see Shark Tanks of the world and see how people are asking for millions of dollars, millions of rupees. Now, the people who are sitting on the panel, all we see is the success, but we don't see the hard sweat and blood which has gone behind that. So it's important to learn that valuation or something doesn't happen overnight. You don't grow overnight, you grow step by step. Entrepreneurship is a journey, and if the whole motive, let me be very, very frank and very, very upright, if your motive is to only earn money out of entrepreneurship, don't get into entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is not about money only. There are a lot more things associated with the entrepreneurship. Now, entrepreneurship is a challenge. It's a challenge every day. Every day new things come. Imagine if you are an entrepreneur, even if you have 2 employees or 3 employees, at the beginning of the month, you owe them the salary, which means that irrespective of whether you are getting the money from the customer or not. You need to pay. Remember, families are depending on you. So it's a very big responsibility. So a lot of time, lot of sacrifices happen from our end, which never comes into open, but that's part of the entrepreneurship one has to go. Now, from the ability to run entrepreneurship, now some people say if you have to be mentally tough. Now, being mentally tough is not the only requirement to be a successful entrepreneur. Now, as I said, every day is a challenge. Now, the key for me is to become a successful entrepreneur is to enjoy your challenges. So that is the key for me. Every day is a challenge. If you do not enjoy the challenges, if you say that, yes, oh boy, this is not going my way, so what do I do? So every day you are going to hit those situations. Every day you will be cornered in one way or the other. Now, how do you come out at the end of the day and start a fresh day, next day positively, is the key for your success, for your entrepreneurship. Remember, there is no one straight formula for entrepreneurship. Only when we hit the ground, each one of the situation is different. Just because somebody has succeeded in a model doesn't mean that you can also succeed. So in today's world, it's all about innovation. It's all about how you do things differently, what kind of a value you add to the customer. Those are the different things. Now, especially if you are getting into the consumer market, it's a whole different ball game. You need to spend a lot of time and energy in understanding the market before you get into a consumer market, which is because that is very dynamic. I mean, there are some times when I have said that during my APN journey is that sometimes I feel there is no reason why a customer buys and there is no reason why a customer doesn't buy. You get very good feedback, but the customers don't come back. They might have valid reasons, so that should not bring you back. So having that perseverance and sustenance. So you need to basically sustain. You cannot say I'm going to go from 0 to 100 a single shot just because somebody has achieved it. When what you would have not noticed is the hard work which has gone behind it. So have that mentality of enjoying the challenges every day. Wake up positively the next day. That is the key to entrepreneurship. As I said, if money is the only criteria for entrepreneurship, that is not for you. So entrepreneurship is a journey one has to enjoy. It comes with a lot of challenges. As I said, family plays a very, very important role, which is never highlighted in any of the entrepreneurship workshops or any of the forums. But based on my experience and what I've seen around me, I say family plays a very important role in the success of your whole entrepreneurship, especially when you're growing and when you're trying to make big. And even success or failure has to be enjoyed with the family. So I still say that family plays an important role. So if you are ready, if you are a person who enjoys challenges, who are ready to forego some lifestyle at some point of time and go through the whole grind, then entrepreneurship is the right thing for you. Go for it. Thank you very much.